There have to be reasons that you get up in the morning and want to live. Why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? If the future does not include being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, I find that incredibly depressing.
The Interplanetary Podcast. The exploration of space for the benefit of all mankind. Your hosts here in London, Matthew Russell and Jamie Franklin.
How do you like them apples, son?
I like them apples quite a lot.
I don't think you need to guess who that was. I don't think anyone does.
I think we all know who that was. By the way, if you're playing the Elon Musk drinking game today on this week's podcast...
Yeah, maybe don't have vodka. Maybe just have something... What's a really low alcohol?
Go for an ale, a light ale.
Yeah.
3.8%, that kind of thing. Because
maximum.
There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of Musk
today.
A lot of Musk.
Right,
talk.
The Musk fanboys that we are going to be waxing lyrical. So hold on to your seats. We're not going to apologise for it. I mean, Matt, I will come on to me in a minute, but how excited were you?
I was actually shaking at the end of Falcon Heavy. I genuinely...
You were, I remember.
I was genuinely... It made me ill. The next day I was actually ill. I felt hungover.
Did it do something to your heart and your muscles?
It genuinely pushed my nervous system over the top.
I was very nervous because I remember the whole 50-50 quote. Is this going to work? Is it going to blow up? Musk said that he had sort of thoughts that it was going to just be a huge explosion and then a tyre bouncing down the road. He had that nightmare. So, I mean... What an incredible feat.
Do you know what? We all knew what it was going to look like, but somehow when it was actually happening, it was just so much better.
It seemed surreal. It seemed like it was fake.
What was your favourite bit?
Well, the same as pretty much. Well, two favourite bits. Of course, the landers, the boosters, left and right. I mean, it just looked like the simulation. Which is why I said it looked fake, because it just was so precise. And it's just so mind-blowing that
I mean, you could watch that.
Hard to think about.
Yeah, you could watch it over and over again, and it really did bring home... Do you know what? It really did look like, at last, we were living in the future.
Yeah, it was mind-blowing. And then, of course, Starman in his cherry red Tesla... And the views of Earth in the background.
Well, spinning in the background was just.
What?
I know it was quite funny when when I was just like watching that. When I realised that there was a live feed on that as well, it was like it was just that was bizarre, wasn't it? And when you could see the Earth reflected in Starman's visor,
it's just, I mean, breathtaking. I mean, the most powerful rocket since Saturn V. And he was saying,
most powerful rocket since the space shuttle. Remember, Eric Berger corrected me on that one. Although it gets a much bigger payload into space than the space shuttle, because the space shuttle's carrying so much of itself up into space. But
that's what I meant.
Yeah, but power. The space shuttle. The space shuttle rocks.
So it all went pretty smooth, didn't it? Apart from the core, the centre core.
The centre core, yeah.
Into the sea at 300 miles an hour.
Was it 300 or 500?
Apparently 300, according to Musk. And he said it took out both of the PADS engines. And he said that it's got to be some awesome footage. They're trying to find the GoPro cameras. And and he said if they can recover them, if they didn't get exploded, then he will put that up online.
We'll get some epic footage of that.
It went pretty clean apart from that, didn't it?
Yeah, the press conference... Other than, I mean, I got so excited when Brendan from Are We There Yet podcast, he got to ask one of the very first questions, which was the question after Musk declared that he was tripping his balls off, which I thought was quite funny. But I felt suddenly I was only 1 degree of separation from Musk, so I've got to thank Brendan for that. What a legend! Absolutely, good work and great question. Yeah, great question. But apparently it wasn't Brendan's. Apparently it was Anthony from Main Engine Cutoff's question. Oh. Yeah, so there you go. So you heard it here first, folks. It wasn't even Brendan's question. Brendan? Maybe he told me that in confidence, I don't know. But, no, he did blurt it on our little Facebook group. Twitter group,
check on the edit.
I'm not going to do anything such thing. No, but what I liked about the press conference is that there's something really compelling about Musk himself, because he's so socially awkward yet a compelling public speaker, and I can't really think of many people like that, other than say,
although, do you know what,
Winston Churchill.
His speech has got a lot better in the. I don't know if it's just because he had so much confidence after what happened, but he didn't make too many stutters.
No, but he was clearly like in a state of euphoria when he was going. He was
of course.
He was like
unbelievable.
It was the archetypal American college kid, wasn't he? That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
But
loved it. He absolutely loved it.
He said some interesting things. He said some very interesting things, like they're going to knuckle down concentrate on Dragon 2 Crew Dragon, which I thought was interesting. What else did he say?
He also said that the boosters were huge, but the BFR needs to be way bigger. Yeah. So think of that, Matt. Think about how big the booster looked when there was a little human standing next to its feet.
Yeah, I mean, no.
The BFR.
Well, what's funny is that later on yesterday, I was watching the space shuttle again, and I realised, actually, in all honesty, the space shuttle is actually more impressive a launch than Falcon Heavy. And I know that
Matt,
it's
are you dissing it? Or?
I'm not dissing it. I'm just. It's easy to forget how unbelievably incredible the space shuttle was. And
absolutely.
And after watching the space shuttle, I suddenly realised, it's just a rocket. However, it did make me think that BFR really is going to seem like a whole different league. And it was the boosters coming back down and landing like simultaneous, and all that was incredible. That's what added the extra spice to it and all the kind of extra drama.
Well, Matt, as he said, crazy things can come true.
Yeah.
So, Matt, if you've got a dream, it doesn't matter how crazy it is, I think you should just go for it, yeah?
Well, that's what Musk has done.
Just do it!
That's
my Shia LaBeouf impression.
So
I hope I've inspired you, Matt.
Another
thing he said, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake, to the question of Starman, and the Earth in the background.
Yeah,
he said, if I was going to Photoshop it, I'd make it look so much better.
It was an interesting
CGI
point.
Looks so much better.
Yeah, but it was an interesting point, wasn't it, that space makes the colours look too sort of hyper-real because there's no kind of atmospheric blurring, and it's just like, it does. It makes it look a bit rubbish. It's like when someone films a film in digital and forgets to do some post on it, and it just looks a bit too. It was like that.
Yeah,
but
a bit too crisp.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some Falcon Heavy facts? I thought.
Should we give people some facts?
Give some people some facts.
All right, you go first.
So, the vehicle, the centre core hadn't been used before. That was like completely specialised core built for the Falcon Heavy. And in the press conference, he said that they weren't going to reuse that anyway. So it's not a disaster that it missed. And he also mentioned, he said if he was going to have one core that was lost, it'd be that one because it didn't have the titanium grid fins, which got me thinking, I wonder how expensive those titanium grid fins are. They must be ridiculously expensive for him to be thinking like that.
Talking about expense, so 90 million, right? And he said it's not that much more expensive than Falcon 9. Well, so if you think about it, I mean, he said we're going to be collecting everything apart from the center core, and it's all going to be reusable, So it really is looking at the future of, if you can't do this, then what are you doing?
Yeah, have you seen
this has got to be the way forward.
Have you seen the ship that goes out to try and catch the fairings, the nose fairings? No. So it's like this. It's this ship with a great big net over the top of it. Like he said in the conference, it was like a baseball glove trying to catch them. And and he's not exaggerating. So like this boat with an enormous net, and everyone was kind of guessing that that's what it was, but it turns out that is what it was. So So yeah, it's only really very, very little that doesn't get saved on a Falcon 9 launch that isn't saved on a Falcon Heavy launch. So yeah, it's only a little bit more expensive, $90 million compared to $60 million. Incredible. But the two side cores had already flown into space. So B1023 and B1025, one had flown into space to do a communication satellite, and the other one has already been to space with a Dragon cargo vessel up to the International Space Station. So they've both those cores that have both
it's
landed.
Just old hat to them. It's just old hat.
Yeah. So apparently they're not going to get used again because they're old Block 3 versions, and they now want to move to Block 5.
And there will not be a Block 6.
That's it. So that is the last iteration of the Falcon. So the next, so when we see the Block 5 Falcon, then that is it. That is the last iteration of the Falcon. And then they start work on in earnest on the BFR, or the Interplanetary Transport, as he went back to calling it. As a tip to the hat to this podcast, no doubt.
All he keeps doing, it's like, just stop it, Elon.
So they both landed.
Get it. You like the poddy.
On LZ1 and LZ2 at pad 13. There we go. So you could see them coming down. It was absolutely amazing. I noticed that they slightly got the footage wrong, where they had the feed twice from one of the rockets. So it made it look as though that both rockets were coming down and they had really similar picture, but it's actually the picture from the same rocket, which was a bit annoying. So then it did a coast after Stage 2 fired. It entered a low parking orbit at about 185 kilometres, like a proper circular orbit, and that was at 29 degrees inclination. And then it did a coast to the equator, did a second burn to place itself in a highly elliptical orbit, which was 184 kilometres by 6,953 kilometres. Which left poor old Starman in the Van Allen belts that were discovered almost exactly 60 years ago.
Apparently, it wasn't just a short little trip through the Van Allen belts, Matt. They were actually, in Musk's words, dwelling there for several hours.
In the Van Allen belts. Now, I read
several hours.
Yeah, and there is a thing that Musk's car won't really last millions of years, because the harsh space radiation will actually rip all the kind of organic components, i.e. the components which have got carbon bonds. Space radiation will literally rip them all apart, like the seat leather, even the carbon fibre eventually, although that will last some time. It will just leave a kind of metal frame. So the car will be destroyed quite quickly by the space radiation, by the way.
Oh man! Even the little, even the microchip with "made by humans on Earth" written on it.
Ooh, yeah, that will go. It definitely isn't space hardened.
So where on from there?
So it did 2 orbits of Earth in that really elliptical path, and then as it passed over Los Angeles, it reignited for a third burn, placing it into its escape trajectory. And it overperformed that third burn.
So, Matt, this is one of the things that confused me, so I'm hoping that it will confuse a lot of our listeners too. Why I thought that this thing was going to be orbiting Mars. Am I wrong about that?
Yes, you are.
And can it still not happen?
No, so it's never going to orbit Mars. That would require incredible bit of orbital mechanics to kind of get it to Mars, then slow it down enough so it actually stayed in Mars orbit. So what's going to happen is it's going to go out as far as where Mars's orbit is.
As far as Mars.
But it's going to be in what's known as a heliocentric orbit. And Helios, obviously, is the sun. So it's actually orbiting the sun in an elliptical orbit that takes it as far out as Mars. But actually, it's overshot, essentially.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah, and actually, I should read out some of the statistics from Jonathan McDowell, who seemed to be doing an awful lot of maths and posting on Twitter some of these things. So it leaves the Earth-Moon system, known as the Hill Sphere, at 6 o'clock, February the 11th, and will enter a 0.99 times 1.71 AU heliocentric orbit. So that's 1.71 Earth to Sun distances multiplied by 1 Earth to Sun distance orbit. And it will pass...
Just normal.
Yeah, so it will pass the orbit of Mars in July 2018, reaching aphelion on November the 19th. So...
God.
Yeah. So the escape orbit is 717 times minus 79,898 kilometres times 28.9 degrees with a C3 of 12 kilometres. So that
Blimey.
C3 is some kind of old textbook nomenclature from some old textbook about orbital mechanics. So God knows what that means. But Jonathan McDowell will be able to clear that up.
Give or take a few days, roughly 6 months to get into the orbit of Mars.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's going to be there in July.
Amazing.
So if only it was still sending pictures back.
Matt, can we have a Mars party in July, please?
Why not? Well, we should do. We should go. Roasters at Mars. Let's tip a hat to it.
Big time.
What I thought a lot of people were a bit disappointed that he wasn't actually testing the spacesuit. But I loved Musk's response was, you can just get in a vacuum chamber and test it out. It's fine. It's like he has tested it. He doesn't need to test it because it works. It's like it's as simple as that. So I thought that was funny. A lot of people were moaning that they didn't have any kind of experiments on board. It's like, well, to be honest, space experiments do take a long time to set up and would be very expensive as a result. So I don't think it's too ridiculous. So do you know what else went in the car other than the Starman dressed in the actual working prototype of a SpaceX spacesuit?
Well, apparently, Matt, there was a miniature version of the Tesla with a miniature Starman at the wheel on the dashboard. Did you know that?
Yes, that was funny, wasn't it? But an interesting one, which BBC News got wrong. They said that it was carrying a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in the glove box.
Right.
It wasn't carrying Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It was carrying Isaac Asimov's Foundation book series that's been printed on an Arch device, which is a 5D laser optical quartz storage device that will survive the rigours of space. So that actually will maybe one of the things that just lasts and lasts and lasts. And also a plaque with 6,000 SpaceX employees' signatures. How cool is that?
See, if it ever does meet a little alien, they'll be chuffed with all that, won't they?
Well, they'll go, what the heck is this? Is it...
You've got Bowie's music, you've got SpaceX signatures, you've got a little toy car.
Of course, there was a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and that was the Don't Panic.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a classy touch.
It is incredible. A classy touch. But there's quite a few English references. You've got a bit of Douglas Adams, you've got a bit of David Bowie, and even the Roadster itself, I believed, was designed by a British designer. Not. Well,
of course it was.
Yeah, bound to be. I'm going to leave that in, even if it's not true.
It's basically what you're saying, Matt. Is this is basically a British launch?
Yeah, this is essentially a British space mission, and we should be very proud.
I'm fully backing you.
There's been a lot of whingers actually on Facebook and Twitter about this launch, what's so exciting about it, and look at what it's so wasteful, and it's just like, no,
idiots.
There's a lot to be excited here.
It's the same people as saying, why do we spend so much money on sending people to the space station when we need money for hospitals?
Yeah,
it's not the right argument.
Well, it doesn't make any sense, because actually space actually generates more tax revenues than it costs the taxpayer. So particularly SpaceX.
And not only that, if you listen to our Tim Peake interview from last week, if you didn't, what are you doing? Go back and catch up. But of course, there's experiments that are happening now that are helping science and medicine. Mm-hmm. Tim Peake was talking about the advances in asthma that has, changed the way that we work back on Earth.
Yeah.
So,
well, not to mention new metals and ways of observing the Earth so that we can keep an eye on global warming and disasters and stuff like that. Yeah.
Talking about ways of observing the Earth, have we heard from the Flat Earth Society yet, or have they?
Oh man, of course there was loads of flat earthers on those live feeds on YouTube. Like, no, this is so fake. This is so fake.
This is so fake. I wonder if any of them were at the launch. Something makes me think they weren't.
It's just bizarre. Well, I know, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's one thing having a like believing in conspiracy theory, but
if we ever get to Cape Canaveral, Matt, can we take a flat earther with us?
I think we should interview a flat earther this year, because I think we haven't done one. We haven't had a little chat with one of these.
We need to get back on the conspiracy train, don't we?
Yeah, we definitely need.
It's been a while,
so let's get a flat earther on soon. But I genuinely.
So Matt, let me ask you this: what else has been happening?
So yeah. What else? I mean, it's been a bit of a pity, because obviously this has been such a monumental piece of news and has overshadowed everything. I mean, when was the last time a space event got to be the news headlines on the BBC? It was the headline.
Headline, yeah.
I literally couldn't believe it.
Everywhere.
But I'll tell you what else.
It was everywhere. Loved it.
I'll tell you what else happened this week, which was interesting. In the ye olde spaceflight news, we had...
I'll be the judge of that.
Well, in Japan, we had the SS-520 flying from Ukinura, and it had the Tricom 1R satellite on it, and that is the smallest rocket to successfully launch a satellite ever. And it was successful on the 3rd of February, and it's in orbit, and it's a technology demonstrator, and it's working. So, well done, the Japanese.
So whilst everyone's talking about big rockets...
Yeah, it's like literally they went for the smallest.
Of the world,
they've literally done the smallest.
We'll go for the small one.
Yeah. How
Good
cool
work,
is that?
Japan.
Well done, Japan. And the day before that, which was just after our last podcast, we did mention this launch, but Long March 2D... put up a bunch of satellites, some European, and those two European ones are really ESA's first mission of the year. So it's worth talking about this, because it's quite it's GOM-X4B is the agency's most advanced technology tester yet, featuring a hyperspectral camera and tiny thrusters to manoeuvre thousands of kilometres from its near twin to try out radio links. So I think the idea of that is like formation flying between nanosats or small, very small satellites, which is pretty cool. But it doesn't end there. So the GOM-4A includes monitoring Arctic territories, and it doesn't carry any thrusters, but will fly behind the GOM-X4B, allowing the pair to test their radio links at various distances. Right. It will also monitor the performance of some off-the-shelf computer parts in the harsh environment of space. So they've got a bunch of different types of computer RAM and see how they fare in space radiation. And it's also carrying a new star tracker for the Dutch CubeSat manufacturer, the unfortunately titled ISIS. So, yeah.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was ESA's first launch of the year was this week on a Chinese Long March 2D.
Well, hats off, everyone.
Well done. Other exciting news. One of our favourites. So
go on.
So Sierra Nevada and the Dream Chaser have been given. Yeah, NASA has given authority for them to proceed for their first mission up to the space station under Resupply Service Contract 2 in late 2020. So we might see a Dream Chaser going up to the International Space Station very soon, in a couple of years.
Finally.
So that's awesome. So that would be pretty exciting, wouldn't it?
Big time.
Of course, just like the European space plane, it's the whole idea of it is that it can get laboratory experiments back to the floor, back to the runway, essentially, so that they can be retrieved very, very quickly.
Well, that's good. That's good to know. And actually, a lot. I mean, if you're investing, that's something that you would be very pleased to hear.
And it can remain attached to the space station for extended periods, and the crew can work inside there because it's got a pressurized capsule. And it allows, it's a flying laboratory that allows scientists to send commands, receive data in real time. So it does it does a lot. So it can return 2,000 kilograms of cargo and pinpoint land it at the NASA Kennedy Space Center for immediate post-landing handover to the customers.
That is pretty special.
So instead of splashing down in the ocean and possibly ruining all these very expensive experiments, it's there to go and grab.
It's there. It's done. Go and get it.
So, apparently there's been some news out in space. Jamie, you're going to tell me about it.
Oh, well, I know that you want to hear about a study on TRAPPIST-1.
Do I?
What do you think's happened?
Well, yeah, we haven't heard about TRAPPIST-1 for a while. What's the new scoop?
Based on the planet's densities, some have masses that are up to 5% water, which could amount to 250 times the water on Earth's oceans.
Whoa.
Think about that, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, up to 5% water. You know what that could mean, Matt? Could mean life.
Water means life.
So whether the planet's water would be in the form of ice, liquid or vapour depends on the amount of heat each receives from the star, which has 9% of the sun's mass. So there's, obviously a load of stuff that we still don't know. But how exciting is that?
It's amazing. I still think my favourite fact is that all the planets will easily fit inside the orbit of Mercury. So it's like they're so close to their parent star, but their parent star is really weak. And
that's so nuts.
It's ridiculous. So I think, this new study was a guy called Sean Carey, who's manager of the Spitzer Science Centre.
He's got a couple of nice quotes for us. He said, "We know more about TRAPPIST-1 than any other planetary system apart from our own." He said, "The improved densities in our study dramatically refine our understanding of the nature of these mysterious worlds."
Yeah, so,
Nice.
Yeah, so that journal is well worth a look, and it's in the Journal of Astronomy and Astrophysics, and there's some great little illustrations about planet density and the illumination from host star. So TRAPPIST-1d...
Just looking at them now, it's amazing.
TRAPPIST-1d is very similar to Earth in its illumination from its host star, and TRAPPIST-1e is almost the exact same density as Earth. So D and E must be very good candidates to being Earth-like. It's just a pity they might be tidally locked. That might be the only downer here.
The only snag.
The Snaggicus Maximus.
Matt, I heard also that there's been one or two planets found outside of our galaxy.
Oh, do you know what? I saw this just after the Falcon Heavy launch. And I was almost...
What's been going on?
I was almost as blown away by this as the Falcon Heavy launch. So,
well, no wonder you were ill.
I just made myself ill with too much... That's what happens. Too much space will kill you, just as much as none at all.
What happened?
Using a technique of micro-lensing, astronomers have detected 2,000 planets beyond the Milky Way. These aren't...
Shut the front door.
These aren't exoplanets. These are extragalactic planets. These are planets to be found in another galaxy 3.8 billion light years away. So this has actually been used before. So I believe that they've used micro-lensing to... They accidentally saw a moon once using micro-lensing, but they'll never be able to confirm it because it was a complete fluke to do with the way that these two stars crossed each other.
So, Matt, without getting too hot and heavy on us, what is micro-lensing?
So micro-lensing. Imagine a lens bends light using refraction, right? So you've got a lens and it bends light and you can magnify things. Very simply, you see a magnifying glass. All it's doing is bending the light, and so it makes things look bigger. Now, micro-lensing is the same thing, but what it does is uses enormous objects like quasars and things to bend the light. So it's actually using enormous gravitation to bend the light. And using that technique, they've been... They can see very, very distant galaxies, for example, by using very large galaxies and micro-lensing, and you see these weird smears that look like mistakes on the film as light sort of gets bent around that galaxy, and you can see even further away galaxies in the distance. But they've been able to do the same thing. Now, I must admit, I got excited and thought that they've actually found 2,000 planets that you can actually tell their positions. But what they've really done is that... and this is the quote that says that the planets are needed to explain the frequent FeKa line energy shifts observed in the gravitationally lensed quasar. We constrain the planet's mass fraction to be larger than 0.00001 of the halo mass, which is equivalent to 2,000 objects ranging from Moon to Jupiter mass per main sequence star. So all they've managed to do is really sort of...
Matt, have you ever kissed a girl?
No. all that they've managed to do is really infer that there must be planets and moons in this star system using the lensing by the quasar. So they haven't actually seen the planets, but they've inferred their existence, but not seen them individually. So they know that there's at least 2,000 objects from Moon to Jupiter size.
Matt, you've done it again. You've done it again. My head hurts. What am I? Now I'm not going to be able to think about anything else.
No, so they know that there's planets there. So we know that there's planets in these other galaxies. I think that's extraordinary. I genuinely think that's extraordinary.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's so cool.
We're not alone, Matt.
No, we're not alone. But to imagine trying to communicate.
Wait till the end. Oh, what a tune that is!
Yeah.
I'll wait till the end of time.
But imagine
who did that. Answers on a postcard.
Yeah, imagine trying to communicate with a species 3.8 billion light years away.
What would be your first? What would you say first of all, Matt?
You'd say hello, and then it would take 3.8 billion years to get the answer. It'd be so annoying.
Yeah.
No, in fact, it wouldn't. Sorry, it would take 7.6 billion years to get the answer. Oh.
Imagine if they just replied and they said, "What?
What? Sorry, I didn't hear you."
You'd be like, "Oh, for God's sake!" Yeah, can you say that again?
Oh, man.
Oh, dearie me.
What was the silly news story of the week?
Matt, have you ever had an RIS?
An RIS?
A rave in space.
A rave in space. No,
Yeah.
but I believe one has happened.
If you've never been aboard a specially converted A310 aircraft, then you haven't lived.
No, so it's weird. I didn't realise that ESA had one of these, that a vomit comet.
Yeah, big time. I was reading about that today.
They've decided to have a rave on it, and it took off from Frankfurt Airport and lasted 90 minutes.
20 partygoers,
Yeah.
DJs, and 2 European Space Agency astronauts were on board.
Yeah.
And that's quite a crew.
That is quite a crew.
Maybe they played that song.
Yeah, well, bound to.
You're not alone.
The event also coincides with, and we're going to talk about this next, the 10th anniversary of the launch of ESA's Columbus Laboratory Module.
Happy anniversary.
That's why I was watching the space shuttle launch, the STS-122.
Yeah, you were.
So, yeah, the Columbus Science Laboratory went up exactly 10 years ago. Obviously, a very important part of the International Space Station and is ESA's biggest contribution to the ISS, but by no means its only, it turns out. So, yeah, the Harmony and Tranquility modules were both built in Turin, as was the Columbus module, which I did not know. It was launched on board the Space Shuttle Atlantis on February the 7th, 2008. And it cost 1.4 billion euros, which for our American listeners is about $2 billion.
2 billion greenies.
Yep. But that includes the experiments that will fly in it and ground control infrastructure necessary to operate them. And just to give you some idea of size, it's about 4.5 meters in external diameter and 6.9 meters in overall length. And we have been in a mock-up of it, of course, at the STEC when we went to the STEC Open Day.
We have, yeah.
So yeah, and they can add loads of stuff to it. One of the end cones contains all the computers, and the other is where you get the common birthing mechanism, which has nothing to do with the pregnant astronauts. It's where things it's where things attach. So Columbus was actually planned as part of the Columbus program, which was to develop an autonomous manned space station that we could use for a variety of microgravity experiments. And that was started in 1986 but ended in 1991. And it had one of the most amazing things that ESA never ever finished was the Hermes shuttle, which was a little bit like, I suppose, Dream Chaser.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But after loads of cuts, they got rid of all the 3 components, and we were left with the one, which then took its name from the whole program and just became Columbus. The APM, the Attached Pressurized Module. So its shape is based literally so it can fly inside a space shuttle. So it's absolutely that shape for a reason. And the agreement with NASA from ESA is that ESA get to use 51% of the Columbus laboratory at all times. So there's always 51% of the work going on in there is ESA work.
You're amazing.
And I tell you what else happened this week as well.
Go on then.
A spacewalk.
Oh, you know I love a spacewalk.
Do you know what? We never hear about the Russian spacewalks, do we?
No, we don't.
This was a big one. So Misurkin and Shkaplerov went out in their Orlan spacesuits, which are very different. Which are very different to the ones that you see the NASA and ESA astronauts going out in. And they came out the Piers module. It was to replace an old receiver box antenna, and which took a very long time. So this is the longest Russian EVA ever, 8 hours and 13 minutes, and it's the fourth longest EVA ever by the criteria of when the hatch is open and when the hatch is closed.
Matt, what was the longest one?
The longest ever is STS-102 EVA-1, I believe.
And how long was that?
Do you know what? I don't know. Maybe people can write in.
Well, that's some homework for you.
So
What a week.
I'm going to be interviewing a chap called Paul Hildebrandt later tonight, and we'll be slotting in a very, very short interview because he wants to talk to us about his new documentary about Apollo 8 called First to the Moon, which I'm very excited about because he's got lots of clips from it and it looks brilliant. So I'm going to interview him and slot it in right here. I'm joined by Paul Hildebrandt, who is a filmmaker, film producer, and is working on a documentary. Hello, Paul.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for having me on the show.
Please, can you tell us a little bit about the documentary that you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So, working on a new film about Apollo 8. For those that don't know, this was the first mission to the moon in 1968. We didn't land on the moon, but this is the first mission where we flew out to the moon, orbited the moon, took the famous Earthrise photo where we saw the Earth from such a distance for the first time. Really impacted everybody back here on Earth and the three guys that were on the spacecraft. So this documentary is called First to the Moon. And it has all new interviews with astronauts Bill Anders, Jim Lovell, and Frank Borman, as well as fresh footage that we have been working on transferring from the National Archives, and as well as footage from the astronauts' personal collections themselves that's never been seen.
Sounds absolutely fantastic. Apollo 8, we obviously covered it on the 49th anniversary. It's one of my favourite space missions of all time, and often people say it's technically the greatest space mission of all time. Would you agree with that?
I would, because, it was really the first time, like I said, that we went to the moon. Apollo 11 gets all the fame because of the first steps, and Neil Armstrong goes on the moon, plants the flag, and does all that. But, we had done it before with Apollo 8, and then we did it again with 10. And, but this was the first time. They had to fly out there. They had to make sure that service module engine was going to ignite. Otherwise, they'd still be orbiting the moon today. So it was really a feat of engineering that everything worked out basically perfectly, and they were able to get back and continue on.
Ever since we covered it on episode 60, it's stayed in my imagination because it's an incredible mission. And the more you read about it, the more details come out of just what an incredible feat it was. So your documentary is on Kickstarter, is that correct? And there's 1 week left, is that correct?
That's right, yeah. We have 1 week left. It ends on February 15th. The morning of February 15th, depending on where you are in the world, is my morning, probably your evening. But we need to raise, as of time of this recording, we still have $63,000 to go. So we need a lot more people to pitch in so that we can get this film produced. And what this pays for is things like the music, the animation, and the archival film. Transferring archival film is extremely expensive. Hiring animators is very expensive, as well as a composer to make the music. Making a movie properly is expensive work, and And we're hoping that everybody can pitch in a little bit. And we've got some great rewards that we're going to give to you. DVDs, Blu-rays, a poster, and then we're reproducing the Apollo mission patch, the Apollo 8 mission patch, as closely as we can to the original, and we'll be sending those out as well.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I really, really hope give you all the best wishes in the world to try and get this thing made and finished. So obviously I invite all our listeners to go and check out the Kickstarter page, and if you can, make a donation and get this thing over the line. What is the URL that they should go to?
Probably the easiest thing to do is just go to our website, firstmoonmovie.com. There's a link to Kickstarter right there on the homepage.
Is this your first documentary, or have you made others?
This will be my second feature documentary. The first one, I made a film called Fight for Space, which was a space advocacy film that kind of asked, why aren't we doing more things in space? And with the launch of Falcon Heavy the other day, I'm excited that we are starting to do more things now. So things are looking up.
Absolutely. And where can people find that movie so they can have a look at your work?
Yeah, Fight for Space is available on pretty much any video-on-demand platform. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, it's on Amazon Prime.
Excellent. That's my evening's viewing sorted out. On the Kickstarter campaign, is the footage that's on there the extra footage that you shot of Jim Lovell and people like that?
Yeah, the footage on the Kickstarter, that's our interviews with them. And then the footage, the archival film, is some of the stuff that we've transferred already, yeah.
It looks amazing. Good luck with that, Paul. And come on the show again once you've finished up and let us know when it's going to be released.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Thanks for spending the time, Paul, and I'll speak to you soon.
All right, thanks, Matt.
That sounds amazing. Well, good luck
I've
to
just
you.
found an amazing piece of news.
What's happened, Matt?
Remember last week we spoke about the Falcon 9 where they weren't supposed to recover the booster, but it landed in the ocean anyway?
I remember.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that the US Air Force have carried out an airstrike to blow it up because it was an unsafe floating booster. So they've just gone...
Really?
Yeah. So they've just gone in and blown it up.
Oh, I'd have loved that job. Jamie, are you doing anything? No, I'm back from my break, sir. Do you mind just flying over this part of the ocean and blowing this up? Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, yeah. So it says here, things like unsafe composite overwrap pressure vessels could have made it a ticking time bomb and hazard to navigation and marine life, being that they are stored dangerous amounts of energy if not vented.
That is ace. That is put. I'll tell you what, Matt.
Yeah.
If we aren't putting the ace back into space, I don't know who is.
It hasn't been confirmed.
What, us putting the ace back into space, or?
Well, yeah, no, that's been confirmed. So that has been confirmed. Sorry, I was
just being silly, Matt.
I got distracted.
I was just being very silly.
According to the best estimates by astronomers, 275 million new stars are born every single day.
That's a lot of births.
That's a lot of births. Is that about the same as humans?
Let me Google it. 353,000 babies are born each day on average around the world.
So, yeah, 275 million new stars every second is a lot more than humans on the planet. It's probably... I wonder if there's any animal that's at 270.
Anything else?
There's 12 times 1.7 times 10 to the 16 flies born and every year. So, yeah, there's loads more flies than stars.
Okay, well... I'll sleep well tonight still.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I'm new to this podcast. I've just listened today. Mm-hmm. Is there anything I can do that might be good for me going forward?
What would be very good is if you made a subscription to iTunes or your favourite podcasting aggregator.
And would you like me to leave a review?
I would love you to leave a very nice review.
And hey, Matt, I know that you and Jamie, you put your heart and soul into this, and it's free. Mm-hmm. Is there anywhere I can go to maybe just donate like a couple of bucks?
Yeah, so you can go to Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/interplanetary, and just like go there and go, do you know what? I'm going to give these guys £100 a month for what they do. Genius.
Oh.
And
I mean, that's just a drop in the ocean.
Well, we get through a lot of booze when we've got Elon Musk on here, and we have to play the drinking game.
That is true. And Matt, if I want to subscribe, is that all right?
Yeah, do it. Just subscribe. Just go. If you want to just donate nothing. Yeah? It's still fine.
We still love you, but just not as much as the people who do.
Oh, we definitely love those people the most.
I'm only kidding.
Entered at Skylon level.
Skylon
level are Mr. Bob Hodges.
Bob, you're a
Mr.
legend.
Mr. Erin Edwards.
Yes.
And Mr. Julio Aprea.
Julio, yes.
Julio is essentially God.
Bob, Erin, thank you so much.
Mega legends.
Well, listen, if you want your name read out, that's how you do it. Get over to Patreon. But we'll stop going on about it now. We just love the feedback. Please keep sending in your questions and comments, and especially when I've got stuff wrong. We love all that. Keep it up.
Keep
your pecker up.
Keep your pecker up, y'all.
I'm going to go and stroll around the docks of Hamburg, and I'll bid you good night.
Night, Jamie. Well, before you go, the Interplanetary Podcast. Putting the ace back into space.